Right, I am recording. So, let's start off. How are you? How are things?
Oh, things are good. Things are great. Just getting ready for our European tour.
Yes, which is obviously the reason that I wanted to speak to you, really, mainly.
Yeah.
We've got quite a good relationship with the guys at Fat, so anything, any bands that are over here, I always try and have a chat with before, just to help you guys out, and obviously, the better the bands that come to us for kind of interviews and stuff like that, it brings more people to our site, so it's win-win both ways.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Are you obviously looking forward to coming over to Europe and the UK?
Yeah, we have never been to the UK before, so that's really, really exciting for us. And since before we got signed, but really more after we got signed to Fat, we have a lot of people asking us to come to the UK. We used to do our own merch, sell our own merch from our Big Cartel website, and a lot of our orders and stuff were from people from the UK. So that was kind of just a good indicator that it was about time for us to get over there.
Yeah.
So we're really, really excited about that. And just overall, in going to Europe, I love it over there.
Yeah.
Love touring there, love visiting there, vacationing there. So I know everywhere's pretty different. It's not like Americans are like, we're going to Europe, but every place is so different and unique. And it's really cool that we'll be getting to spend quite a few days in the UK.
Yeah, because UK Virgins, and then you've got quite a few shows while you're actually over on this side of Europe.
Yeah, I'm really. I wasn't sure when our booking agent was booking the tour. I know there's a pretty good German circuit, and a lot of our friends are in bands are like, you got to go to Germany. But I was kind of surprised when we came back with the routing, and there was a lot of these UK dates. But then again, it really made sense to us because we do have a lot of inquiries and people asking us to get over there. And then just kind of seeing the events, like on the Facebook events, and people commenting on our social media about a lot of the people engaging about the tour, people from the UK. So yeah, it's really pumping us up to get over there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, you're playing some kind of off the track kind of venues as well. You're playing. That's
what of course, we have no idea in relation to where anything is over there. But yeah, a lot of people are like, well, you're playing there, you're playing Grimsby, you're playing.
but it's one of these things that I always say to anyone who's like in America, people will go 2 hours to go watch a band, but if you're playing Grimsby, that's Grimsby. There's so many towns within that too. You know what I mean? I think it's just it's the mentality of the British crowd sometimes that they're a little bit. Oh, you're not playing exactly my town, I'm not happy. Do you know what I mean? So, yes, you're playing Grimsby, but there's loads of places that are near Grimsby where people could travel from. But
yeah, that's interesting. There are different kind of, mentality. I noticed that, too. People are like, you're not playing here, but, you're playing in this other town. I'm like, yeah, you can make the drive.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, you're playing about 10 miles from my house, so it's fine. I'm not too fussed.
So awesome. Which town was it?
I live near Derby, so you're literally it's 11 miles from my house to Derby, so
rad.
That one's a close one, so I'm not going to complain. But I mean, looking at the dates, there's some nice, you've got a London date, you've got a Norwich date, and they're all interesting venues as well, which is cool.
Well, from our experience too, even in the United States and from our last time in Europe, particularly places kind of like Spain or even in Germany, you get these kind of towns that seem to be, I mean, of course we don't know much about them going into these places, but seem to be a little bit smaller or kind of a little bit more off the map, but they're always some of the most awesome shows. And that goes to say for some places in the United States, too. Yeah. There'll be some kind of these, kind of hillbilly towns, or, there's this one place called Fort Wayne, Indiana, and it's kind of like, whoa, they're kind of a bit of a culture shock, just this is a place in the United States, but awesome. It just goes off every time. And, once we played this little mountain town in Spain, and we show up and we're like, what is this? But it turned out to be one of the best shows.
Yeah.
So you just never know. I kind of think people that aren't in bigger cities do appreciate, too, when a band comes to their town.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's a lot more special.
Yeah, like I was talking to the Last Gang a couple of weeks ago, and they were saying there was one.
Cool.
There was one specific date on the Warped Tour that always sells out. I can't remember where it was, but I think it might have been like somewhere in Indiana or something like that, because they're always so appreciative of the fact that usually there's no bands going there. So when Warped Tour comes, like everyone wants to go, and it always sells out. I can't remember where it was.
Right. We live in Los Angeles, and it's like you think it's the best place to play a show, but on any given night, we played a show on one night, and it was, Against Me was downtown, and we were playing with the Bouncing Souls, and then the Swing Utters are down in Long Beach, and it's like you could just pick your poison. Yeah. You have something to do that night. So, anyways.
I mean, in terms of support acts and stuff like that, are you guys, is there anyone that you're bringing over with you that you've not announced yet, or is it going to be, is there anyone in the UK that you'd like to take out on the road with you?
It's just us on this tour. That was kind of just a strategic move for us, and as we are kind of we've been around for a long time, but in the kind of more public arena, we are really kind of a newer band as we're newer on Fat. So it just isn't really, we're not able to bring another band with us at this moment. We're kind of trying to get by on what we can get with guarantees and stuff. So wasn't really something that we could do. Right. But like I said, we've never been to the UK, so I really am not that familiar with a lot of UK bands, and that's always what's kind of exciting about going on these tours is when you show up to these places and you play with these random local bands, some of them are just really great, and that's kind of exciting for us to get to see who the promoter puts on as a local, or what band, because we know how it is too when you're coming up and you're just trying to get those local support acts. We grew up in San Diego. It's like we were the first. We got buddies. We made buddies with all the promoters, and it's like, okay, whatever band's coming to town, like, can we open? So I kind of know I like that, because it's like the bands that are probably opening, they're stoked to be there. They want to be there. They might even, they're probably fans of Fat Records, so that pumps us up. Yeah. Because I know how it is to be stoked to open a show.
Yeah. Like any to open for a band that are on Fat must, like, for any band must be one of those bucket list moments always.
Yeah, it was for us.
In terms of, you must be quite excited to come to the UK thinking about it, because having that album out and on Fat, which obviously gives any band kind of coverage, it must be exciting yet apprehensive, because me knowing I'm probably going to go to the Derby show, and I've listened to the album quite a lot of times, so I'm stoked to be seeing you guys playing some of those tracks live. So awesome. It must be exciting, kind of knowing or wondering if kind of people are going to be singing along and how people are going to respond in a country you've never been to.
That is the most amazing thing, and I am so excited, because it's a lot of pressure. These are our songs and we play them a lot, but when you show up to a place you've never been before, and these people know your songs and they've waited for you to come so they can sing along live, I know that feeling so well. I know how much that means to me when I go to see a band, and especially I have a band I've never seen before, and being able to sing along to them live and experience it in that way. So being on the other side of it is really crazy. I get goosebumps thinking about it and talking about it with you, because really, kind of that's what it's all about if you want to be in a band. People start bands for a lot of reasons, but one of the best pieces of advice we ever got was that you want to make songs that people remember and songs that people want to sing along to, or else, what are you doing? So to make a song that people remember and love and are excited to see live, is that if you can do that, then that's a good sign that you're doing something right. So we're really excited to see how it is for us in terms of that.
The album's, in my opinion, is kind of full of those songs as well. There's a lot of depth to the album. There's so many different, not necessarily styles, but inklings of styles, if that makes sense. Listening to it again and making notes on the way home from work today. You've got kind of Sweet for Sorrow, which it reminded me kind of the Bad Religion kind of hardcore, sound from the early 90s. But then you've got Capable of Lies, which is quite pop, kind of pop punky. There's a lot of different sounds in there and depth to the songs that there's something for everyone almost.
And that's like, I don't know how much of it was intentional, but I think it was all really kind of just more subconsciously, because, you know, we're a product of just being huge fans of the genre. And we're not in particularly one way, or, I mean, we grew up in Southern California, so we have this absolute, like, it's in our blood almost to love everything like Southern California skate punk and Epitaph and Fat Records and early 90s stuff, but as well as just being totally engrossed in the whole kind of Ramones core, pop punk more genre of it all, and bands from you know, other places in the country. And so we're just, and also, you know, I really grew up on a lot of, you know, like Newfound Glory and the Ataris and like the Starting Line and Alkaline Trio and all like that more poppy pop aspect of it. I love all of that stuff as well. So, you know, Blink-182, of course. So kind of all of that mixed into one. It's all pop punk, you know, whether people like to kind of get political or this is a pop punk and this is, but we kind of just love it all. Yeah. And I think that kind of comes out through the album. It wasn't trying to be one way or the other. It's just making music that we liked and kind of rolling all those influences into one.
Yeah. I mean, to me as well, like doing the research, like I can't believe it took 10 years to get the album out. Like it doesn't feel like a debut album. I don't know if that's because you've had those years to find you, but at the same time, you've not actually had the lineup that you've got for that long, have you?
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said? I just lost you.
I was saying, like, I couldn't believe that it's taken 10 years to release the album. Like, it doesn't feel like a debut album. It feels like a band that have got 10-15 years experience.
Well, so that's kind of the beauty of it, you know. It's like we kind of, you know, people are like, I can't believe it took this long to come out or this, but in the end we kind of like, it's kind of cool because we never meant it to happen that way. We kind of have the perception of a new band because it's kind of the first thing like a lot more people were exposed to of us, but we also had all of those years of polishing, finding out what doesn't work right, writing songs that weren't catchy but becoming better songwriters, also being able to find the time to work with not only the right people in our band, like finding the right drummer and bass player, but also having the time to work with different recording engineers, a couple different producers too, and it was kind of, and also being able to learn how to tour. That's the thing. If you're a new band, you don't just touring is not just something you're really born to do. It's something you have to be like acclimated to and really mentally get in the groove of. So we had kind of that, and that's, you know, some bands don't they come out swinging, but they can't survive the road, and they break up or they lose their shit, and, you know, so we have that. It was like all those years were preparing us for this moment right now. Yeah, it's like you say, you had kind of chance to find out what works. It's like they always say with screenwriters, like the first movie you ever write, just chuck it straight in the bin, because it's not, do you know what I mean? It's not worth it. Like, I suppose that's to a certain extent, having that 10 years to find the lineup, what worked and stuff like that is almost like that first screenplay. Yeah, in a way, we were kind of primed, and we also, along the way, you know, we did cool stuff, and we got a lot of great advice, and we got a lot of mentoring, and people just being really honest with us, and people in the right places being very, very honest with us. You know, you guys have what it takes, you guys can clearly play, but, you know, step up the songwriting, step up, you know, this or that, and really thinking about that and practicing it and just living it. It was a huge thing for us to get to this point. So it was these little kind of things and pushes along the way that got us to this moment in time. You mentioned, obviously, on your website about, I think it was you always wanting to be on Fat Records. Did you actually record the album whilst you were on Fat, or did you record it and then they signed you, or? Yeah, we recorded it before, we were not on Fat Records when we recorded it. Yeah. Basically, you know, the goal was always to be on Fat Records, and over the years, as we had recorded a few things, we had sent them to, like, Fat Mike, and he actually became a friend of ours. We played shows with them, and he told us brutally, like, honestly, you guys are cool, like, I like your band, but like you need to write better songs. He was the person that said that, you know. And so in our minds, we knew we wanted to record this full length, so we went in and recorded it. You know, we paid for the whole thing. We chose where we wanted to go. We worked with a producer we really wanted to work with. Was a good friend of ours. And in the end, when we finished the record, we were really happy and proud of it. And when it came time to shop it around to labels, you know, clearly Fat Records was our first choice. But in our minds, we've just accepted, you know, maybe if they don't have it, we're so proud of it that we're going to be happy. We know it's going to do well, and it's going to go where it's meant to go. Because we knew that we felt just confident about it. So in our hearts, we're like accepting that maybe this won't be on the Fat, but that's cool. We'll find somewhere, somebody will put it out, or we'll just, even if we put it out ourselves. Like, we're not going to let this thing, you know, this is us. And we're accepting that we didn't do anything for anyone else, almost, was kind of a cool way to go about it. So when we sent it to Fat Records, it was all mixed and mastered. And when Mike emailed us, you know, he said, his email was just, I mean, we'll never forget it. He said, wow, you guys made a perfect record. It would be my honor to put it out. Like, you guys finally did it. So that was huge. It was like, you know, that's, in the end, you know, we would have loved that to happen, and it did. But having Mike's kind of validation, and he's from someone who has told us along the way, this isn't good enough, to tell us that it's perfect, was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about Fat. Like, having spoken to Mike before, like the fact that as a record company, it's not just some random agent that goes out and finds bands. Like, if you've not got if Mike doesn't like you as a band and doesn't enjoy you, don't bother. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting signed to Fat if Mike doesn't like it.
Right.
Yeah, because he said he's involved with every band signing.
He is, yeah, and I think, I don't know, he is, like, I think in past years he did a lot more with actually being involved in the producing. I mean, like, a lot of bands he was more involved with. Now I kind of think he kind of more picks and chooses. I know he helped, you know, he helps with some bands here and there, but for this particular record, it was one of those things too. Everybody at the label kind of has to like it. You know, if Mike might really love something, but if Aaron doesn't, it doesn't really get past. I think maybe sometimes that happens, but being kind of, you want everybody at the label to kind of like it, and they have to kind of be behind it. They're working for it, you know, and that's what's cool about it too. It's like they're all are really involved with the bands and grow relationships with them all, and they kind of pride themselves on that. You know, it's a label, it's a family.
It really is. Like, you get, like, obviously, like with especially like with videos and stuff, like you've got certain Fat Record acts in different people's videos and stuff like that. Like, are you in one of the Direct Hit videos, or am I?
Yeah, actually, Polly's husband, he and a good friend of his. Polly's husband is kind of he's a writer, and he kind of is like a horror buff in terms of, like, he's kind of like written and actually made a couple like horror movies on his own, but so he and his friend actually wrote and directed the Direct Hit video. And that happened because we did a tour with Direct Hit in like 2014, and when Polly's husband came and met us on tour, I mean, Direct Hit and her husband, they just like fell in love with each other. It was instant like man love because they were just bonding over, you know, all of these horror movies and kind of things. So when they wanted to do this video, which the band's actually not in the video, and they wanted to do it in LA with that actor Charlie, who's the main guy in it. So yeah, they just hit up Mike to do it, and Mike was stoked. So yeah, we were all in it, and that was really, really fun.
It's a really good video. It's really funny. I really like that.
Yeah, video. Yeah, that was Polly's husband. He's kind of the brainchild behind that. So it's really fun to, like. That's the craziest thing about it too. When we're on the level of where we're at with having friends on the label and just kind of everybody working together. You have all this at your fingertips. All of our friends are amazing creative types, you know, and everybody kind of helps each other out in those situations, making videos, writing songs, and as far as, you know, from booking shows and booking tours, everybody helps each other out.
I mean, but saying that's a great. I mean, your videos are also. I really enjoy both the last videos. Just a proper throwback video. It's great.
Yeah, we we have there's one guy who's done our last 4 of our videos, and he's just another he plays in a couple bands in LA, and we met him just through playing shows, and we knew he directed some friends bands videos here in LA. We hit him up and with our ideas, and we collaborated, and Polly's husband kind of got involved with some, just working out ideas. He has a really good eye for shots and stuff, so we have this little dream team of people to make these kind of low-budget videos, and they all turned out kind of exactly how we wanted them to.
Probably my last question. It's something like, for me at the moment, that there feels like there's really something special happening with female-fronted bands. Like you've got yourself, you've got Bad Cop, War on Women, The Last Gang, who are, as harsh as it seems, it feels like you're the only guys at the moment that are doing anything kind of interesting in the world of punk. Like, how does it feel on the inside? Does it feel like there's something special happening, like with all these bands getting signed and starting to gain some real kind of traction and popularity?
Yeah, there really is, and I don't know. Like, it's hard to say because, you know, for us, it's like we've been doing this forever. We were kind of, you know, you see a lot of more female-fronted bands coming through the woodworks, or maybe they're kind of just reached the level of, like, you know, that we are at, especially, like... But it's interesting because when we saw Fat Mike last in San Francisco, he was just saying, like, yeah, you guys, you know, he said to us, thanks for making that record, it's great. We're like, well, thanks for putting us on your label. And he said, you know, kind of in his own words, he's like, you know, you and Bad Cop, we have both of your records this year. And he's like, they're two of, you know, he said, like, his favorite records that have come out recently. And it's just, he's like, people think that we're signing girl bands or female bands. It's not that. It just happened. You guys just are women and you're kicking ass. It's not like we went out there looking for you. We just, you know, it just happened that way. And it's, I don't know, because there is, you know, the political climate with things that are going on around our world, especially in our country. It's just, it's needed. It's really empowering that it's happening right now. And I can't say why, but I just think that it's needed in people's minds and in the public. But one thing that's interesting is, as a female-fronted band, you kind of get pushed. You're expected to have some kind of view on what it's like to be a feminist, or what it's like. You're supposed to. People want you to have some other message. Yeah. And that's kind of something what we're struggling with, because we kind of try to stay away from that a bit. Like Bad Cop does it well. War on Women does it well, but a bit more extreme. Yeah. And we're kind of that band. We're just females, but we've never tried to. It's just we don't sing about anything really politically, like one way or the other. We kind of are a party fun time band, and we also kind of sing more about things that are directly involved with us. Yeah. So I don't know. People expect us to. I'm kind of dancing around what I'm trying to say here. But I guess people just kind of people kind of want us to sing something a bit more angsty or a bit more with a message. But at the same time, I like to stand our ground in saying that we're just being us. The fact that we're just being women in a punk band is just enough, you know, because this is what the world needs. Is that we're being women doing exactly what we want to do, and so nobody really needs to tell us which way or the other what our band should be about, or what we should say or what we shouldn't say. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Like Fat said, it's a brilliant record. Like Mike said, it's a brilliant record, but it's a fun record. Like, it's not a hard-hitting record. It's still amazing, but it just so happens that, like you say, it's a fun party record.
Yeah, and there's something to say about now. I am almost. We're kind of feeling this wave of people expecting us to get up there and be a War on Women, or even be a Bad Cop, which they do it well, and that's their thing. Just knowing those people as individuals, they are eloquent in speaking about certain issues, and they are really passionate about speaking about those issues, and that's wonderful, and they do it really well. But people can't expect every band, just because they're a female, to get up there and, you know, smash the patriarchy in its literal sense. Yeah. We can just go up there and be. If we want to go up there and be up there and be raunchy and say dirty jokes, and that's a thing in its own too, because people are going to expect us not to, or don't want us to. So, I don't know, I think that's like, what happened to like a fun band like, you know, Blink-182, or someone just going up there and I don't know. So I just think as women, we are kind of in this. It's a great time for us, but also there are still expectations where still people are still trying to put you in a box.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I can.
So you can't really get around it.
Yeah, I completely see the thinking behind that. It's it's interesting. It's
never forced to think about it, but now more than ever, it's like, okay, this is now what people expect of us. So
war on women. It's weird now. Now I make you think. Yeah, it's like those bands have almost putting women in bands in a box by trying to be outside the box. Can't
and
we just
that's
have good
fine
music?
Too. It's fine that that's what people sing about, but the fact that other people expect that, I kind of wonder sometimes, if we were on tour with like Born Women, I know we would get along 100% with people in that band, but I think sometimes maybe their crowd might not like if, Polly and I get up there and talk about, something really raunchy, like, balls and dicks or something. We like to make like kind of like stupid jokes, whatever. If you say something that kind of could come off offensive, we would alienate their crowd.
Yeah.
We would be alienated by that crowd. I'm afraid, maybe not. I'm curious to see what kind of. I just think it's interesting because as the bottom line is, people want to see. I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought here on that.
I know what you mean. It's like to be an empowering female role model. You don't have to be doing what War on Women are doing. Like, you are doing it you're doing something different. Like, you're still being a kick-ass female-fronted band, but in a completely different way.
Yeah, so it's like everybody has their own thing.
I think that's pretty much it. So I'll leave it at that in terms of the interview. Obviously, we will hopefully be there at the Derby gig, and everyone can check out your social media and stuff like that for tour dates and stuff like that. It's October time, isn't it? Is it first week of October?
Yeah. I believe it's kind of like, I don't know exactly, but more like 10th, 11th, 13th, something like that of October. 9th of October
in the UK, in Norwich, and then finishes on the 15th in London. So, no days off. So you've got a nice.